Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California, and today I thought we would make a slimline card using the Enjoy the Journey suite. So this is in our new catalog. I was actually online the other day looking at everything, and I realized our Slimline envelopes are still available. So I wanted to do a Slimline card. So we are using the Enjoy the Journey suite, which is on page 58 and 59 of the new mini catalog. And in this suite, you get so much stuff. You get the stamp set, you get the dies, you get the twine, you get the sticker icons, and paper. So in the paper pack, I will show you. So here are the enamel sticker icons and the twine, but the paper is fabulous. So the paper, if you get the paper by itself, it's Enjoy the Journey 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and you get 2 of each. I'm only showing you 1 of each, but you get 2 of each, so you get 12 pieces of double-sided paper in there, and there are some great designs on these. I just love these scenes. And then you get the oranges and the pink. And this is the one we're going to use. And they are double-sided. So on the back, you also get some other great images, patterns that you can use for anything. But we will be using this larger piece today. So let me put that aside. And in the stamp set, it is really, really nice. You get the trees here. You get a kind of a floral image, some grass, some great sentiments. And then in the die set, you get 14 pieces. These are all the pieces that we are going to use. And then you also get the other pieces. So let's put that aside. And to start with, I started with, let me put this over here so I can use it for reference. I started with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I've got my cardstock here, 8.5 by 11, and I went ahead and I cut this at 7 1/4. So I cut this piece to 7 1/4, and then I scored this at 3 5/8, which leaves me with this extra piece over here on the other side. And this piece I cut at 3 3/8 by 8 1/4, so it would layer on there nicely, just like that. So let's work with our panel. I've got my panel here. And then this is the piece that we are working with. And because I already did a sample, I didn't want to cut this one up yet, but I wanted to show you what I did. I just cut it at 3 3/8, so it will fit on my panel perfect. So I just cut a strip off, and I can get a lot more strips out of that for more cards. So I cut that strip off, and then I just kind of looked at it. You can see I've got like little tick marks on there already because I was trying to figure out where we should cut it. So I've got my sample, and I just kind of looked at it. I want my my top green piece here to be about there. So I just put little tick marks on it. And then for my middle purple piece, I just kind of looked at it and marked it because I want them to all 3 fit on there. And then for my back, my bottom piece here, I am using this starry sky, the night sky. So let's go ahead and get those cut. So I'm just going to put them in here and kind of look at my tick marks that I've got, because I want the scene on the card. So we've got that one for the top. And then for this one, we can do it this way. I also want the mountains in the scene. So let's go ahead and cut that. So we've got these. This will be my top piece. And that fits right on there perfect because I cut it at the same width. There's my middle piece. And then my bottom piece, let's see, I want it approximately right there. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because we are going to put little borders on there. See how I've got the foil? We're doing little borders to separate our scenes. And when I saw this set, I really wanted to get it because my son, his birthday is coming up in March, and I know I've still got time, but I get sidetracked. And then I don't get anything done in time, so we're doing this early. So let's go ahead and put our top piece on there. And he is a total outdoor guy. He does everything mountain biking and camping, and he is always out and about with his friends. So he is always riding his bike. He has more Strava miles than anybody I know. So then we'll go ahead and we will put our purple piece on there just like that. This card came together super easy too. I think the whole thing took me under an hour. Once I kind of figured out what I wanted to do, it does come together really simply, really quickly and easily. There we go. And then our bottom piece. Did I cut that short? You know, I did cut it a little bit short, but that's okay because we're going to put our border on there. So let's glue this one down. And I know he would probably tell me, I don't ride that kind of a bike, but you know what? It's the thought that counts, right? And this card is a little out of my comfort zone. I don't usually use the designer series paper. I do purchase it quite often, but it just sits. I kind of like to make my own backgrounds more often than not. All right, so we've got that started. So I did do some prepping here for us. I have 4 strips cut out of silver foil, and we are going to go ahead and add those. Now I already have tear and tape on the back of them, so I'm just going to get the tape off, and we will go ahead and add these. And let's line this up so we can use the lines on our grid sheet to make sure that we have it straight. So I am just going to do that, just like that. Get it on that other line. Perfect. And then we can cut this off. And I will go ahead and do that for the other 3 strips. Okay, so we've got our little scene started. Now, I think what we need to do next is we are going to do our stamping, because I did my stamping after I had it put together, and that's really not what you want to go ahead and do. So let's do our stamping first. I've got some things prepped. I already did my happy birthday sentiment, and I am using different sets. So for my happy birthday, I got an old paper pumpkin out, and this was from December of 19, and I found the happy birthday, and I liked that because of the size and the font, so I white heat embossed that. And then we are going to go ahead and take out this older set. I know this is retired, but we buy our stamp sets so we can use them over and over. So I encourage you to go through your stamp sets and just look at the different sentiments. I really liked this sentiment. This is the I'm so glad, or I'm glad you were born. And we're going to go ahead and get out our Stamparatus because I want to make sure that I get this straight. So I'm going to put it in here, and I actually need to take the foam out because that is a red rubber stamp. We're going to put it in our Stamparatus, line that up there, and I'm going to use both magnets to hold it in place because we may need to stamp again. But what I like to do is I will bring in my plastic grid sheet. I got this in the sewing department at your local craft store, and I've shown this before. I like to use this to make sure my sentiments are straight. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to center that, trying not to get my head in here too much. We're just going to center that, pick it up with the plate, and then I can bring in a dark ink so it will stand out. And you know what? It kind of already looks to me like that's not very straight. So I am just going to bring it up a little bit. We'll just put a little bit of ink on there. I am going to mist this color when it is gone. And that looks perfect. I like that. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm going to bring in my rag with my Stampin' Mist. Wipe this off, wipe that off, and then we can heat emboss. But I'm thinking let's do both at the same time. Oh, you know what? We can't. Let's just do this one first. We're going to heat emboss this. Close this up. I've got my Versamark. We will bring in our powder bag. Just get a little powder on there so the embossing powder does not stick where we don't want it. We're going to heat this up after we get it on there. Gentle pressure because this is a delicate little sentiment. So I will stamp it up twice, maybe 3 times, but I'm just putting delicate pressure. Just delicate pressure so it doesn't smoosh the letters. And I think that's pretty good. I can see it. So let's bring in our white embossing powder. We'll sprinkle a little bit on there. And heat this up. That looks pretty good. Okay, that took a little bit longer than normal because I didn't have my heat gun warmed up, but I think that sentiment came out perfect in there. We'll put this aside for just a minute and then we'll bring it back in. Get this out of the way. So let's do our little scene building here. So I did already do most of my die cutting for us, and I've got all my pieces. So we've got our tent. I used the 2 dies for the tent. I've got my background, and then I've got the outline on there, so we will glue that together. I did a whole bunch of our trees, but we will also be doing something else here. And you know what? I seem to, oh, here it is. We are going to stamp another one in the evening evergreen on there, and I wanted to show you a little trick. So I've got those ready to go. I did 3 of my bicycles and I stacked them because I wanted to have dimension. This card is pretty flat and I'm not putting jewels or pearls or anything on this because it's a masculine card. So I did my bicycle and then my little hiker here with his lantern. He reminds me of a Yeti. I did 3 of these. And I've stacked 2, and I did not stack this one yet because we're going to put a little piece of foil behind there to make the lantern look like it's lit up. And then I did a whole bunch of my clouds, and I did a moon for our scene. So I've got those all ready to go. Let's see here. Okay, so I think first we need to do our ground. So let's get our ground going. So this is another die in the stamp set, and this creates a hilly kind of effect. But I don't want mine to be very tall because I only have so much space to do my little scene. So we can bring in our mini cut and emboss machine, and we are going to go ahead and just place this probably just like that. I want to make sure that I get the whole thing cut out, but I don't want too much hill. So I'm just going to get it ready like that. Put my plate on top, and then we can run it through. All of these dies in this die set do fit in your mini cut and emboss machine. Okay, so we've got one little hilly side here. Let's just cut that off. It didn't finish. We've got one little hilly kind of background there, and then let's do another one. We need another one for the starry sky, and I want this one to be up a little bit more, so that one will probably, let's turn it like that. And we can use a piece of tape. You know what? I think we need a piece of tape. I just use painter's tape. I have a big old roll of painter's tape that has lasted me forever. We're just going to tape that in place because I don't want it to move. I think right there is probably pretty good. So let's put our plate back on there. We don't want that cloud in there. Put our plate back on there and run this one through. Just like that. So now we can put this aside, and we can figure out where we want our little scenes to be, how we want our scenes to be set. So I think this one will probably, this one I want more of the larger hill, and this one I think is probably pretty good like that. So let's get those glued down. I need to refill my little ink bottle here. Just like that, and I'm just lining that up with the foil. So then let's take our bottom one and attach that. Perfect. And then I did the same thing. Looks like I got a little glue on there. It will dry clear. I did the same thing for my blue. I took that same die and I cut it out, but I flipped it over. And sometimes you get the lines from the die on your paper. So I'm just going to smooth those lines out because I want to use the opposite side. So let's go ahead and get that piece glued down also. Just like that. And then we can cut our ends off. We can just trim everything. We're just going to trim those off. And this way you don't have to worry about trying to get your paper cut to the exact width. You can just trim it off. Just like that. Perfect. All right, so now we need to stamp our other sentiment. So for my second sentiment down here on the bottom, I put love you. And I just went back into an old paper pumpkin set and I got the love you out of there. This is from the Be My Valentine, January of 2019. And I just chose the love you. And that's why we get these things. So we have these stamp sets for future use. So let's go ahead and we will get this heat embossed. We want to put a little bit of powder down here. I have a lot of stuff going on here. If you guys could see what I got going on around me, I think you might be embarrassed for me. There's a lot of things going on here. Okay, so we'll get our powder open, get that ready. And we will try our best to stamp this straight. This is why I love the Stamparatus, because you never know if you're going to get your sentiment straight or not. Let's bring in our powder, put some powder on there. I think that looks pretty good. One more coating. All right, let's heat that up. I do not want to spill that. So let's see. And if we get any extra little specks, you can take a paintbrush and just wipe those away. But I think mostly everything that I have on there right now is just from the powder bag, not embossing powder. Okay, and that looks perfect. So I'm just going to take my handy dandy rag and wipe that powder off, and we are ready to continue. That came out pretty good. It's nice and straight. Okay, so we've got our backgrounds, we've got our stamping and embossing here, and we've got our borders. Let's try to see if we can, looks like I got a little bit of glue on there. I think that's good. So if we can start building our card. So I want that there. We need to attach our tent frame to the tent body. We're just going to add some glue in the big areas. Just like that. Put this on there. And we're good. Perfect. And I think we will just place that right there. I've got my little camper here with his lantern that looks like a Yeti to me. And we will just bring in one of those extra pieces that we used for our frame. And we are going to place this right over the little holes where the light shines through. So we've got that there. Now we can attach this Yeti to the other two that are already stacked. Just put little dots of glue in the open areas. And there we go. We've got light shining through our lantern. Perfect. Just give that a little pressure. Hold that down for a minute so that glue sets. And we are good. So we will be putting these here. I think that's probably pretty good right there. Let's attach these. And this card is just totally my son and his outdoor activities. Put that there. It is a little different than what I normally do. I'm usually frilly and flowery and pretty and lots of jewels and pearls and everything. But sometimes you just need to step out of your comfort zone. So we'll put that there, just like that. Good. And then to work on our bottom panel. So for my bottom panel, I wanted to add some trees and have it be a nighttime scene. But if I just do the tree die all by itself, you don't really, I mean, you kind of know it's trees, but at the same time, you may not. You might want a little more definition in there. So I've got my tree stamp. I am going to bring in my evening evergreen because my paper is evening evergreen. And we are just going to stamp this right there. Just like that. Now, because it is evening evergreen on evening evergreen, when I did my sample, I had a hard time lining it up. So what I did was I die cut a piece out of white paper so I can line this up perfect. So I can just go around that and line that die up where I want it. And then I will just take a piece of tape and hold that white die in place. Then I can just slip my die into that hole and it will die cut super, super easy. And it will be perfect. So let's put that in our mini cut and emboss machine and we will get that cut out. And you can do that with all dies. If you're having a hard time lining it up, that is the easiest way to do it so you can be sure that it is a perfect cut. So now we'll just pop that out of there and it's perfect, ready to go. So let's attach this to our other two that I already die cut and stacked. I hope everybody is having a good day. It is very overcast here today. Very. There we go. Oh, got away from me. That's okay. So we will put that on there. Line it up. And then we've got our trees all stacked. We will put our trees down here, just like that. If you could please like this video, subscribe, comment. YouTube loves comments, and I do read them all. If you just leave me a nice comment telling me that you liked the video or what you liked about it, I will just give you a little heart. But if you do ask me a question, I will respond. Okay, so you know what? I got glue on there, so let's just put a piece of paper. So we've got there. Now let's add our clouds and our moon down here on the bottom. And for our clouds, I think we will go like that. I think that's perfect right there. We will add this and then we will cut it off like we did our other images. Right there. Let's add our moon. Just like that. And then we can cut this off. And we can stick this piece over here. So we got 2 for 1. Make that nice and straight. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to add some clouds up here on our middle scene. And now we will do our bicycle. I keep wanting to grab that, but that's actually protecting my project because I got glue on there. So let's take our bike. We're going to figure out where we want that. I know I want him doing a wheelie. And we can figure out where we want our clouds. Let's add our clouds before we glue the bicycle down. I think like that is probably pretty good. And if you need a catalog or have any questions, please send me an email to handmadehugsbymelissa@gmail.com and I can get a catalog right out to you. There we go. And now the other one. Up there. I think that's pretty good. We're going to hold it just for a minute so it sets. Trim those off. There's a lot of trimming, but I prefer to do it this way because then you don't have to worry about getting your pieces cut perfectly. There we go. And we could probably even add this cloud. No, well, yeah, we can put that one up there. I guess that's, no, I don't think I want that up there. So let's add our bicycle. Just a little bit of glue in the open areas. My glue is coming out wonky today. I noticed that I had some seeping glue in a couple images, but that's okay. It does dry clear. And then we will put our bicycle just like that. And we can take our sentiment. And I did put my sentiment up on some dimensionals. And this card is almost done. And we have lots of clouds left over. So here is my card panel. Where did our work? Here's our card base. And I just attached this with dimensionals. So I will go ahead and do that. All right. Now I will just center this on my card base. And we are done. That is so cute. I love the scenes. I keep wanting to pull up that piece of paper. I just love the different scenes. He's out during the day riding his bike. He's camping at night. And then when he's asleep, the moon is out and everything is perfect in the world. Isn't that cute? So this was our card for today, and I will pair it with one of our Slimline envelopes. It will fit in there perfect, and I can mail it. I probably won't mail it, just the card though. I will probably put it in a box with a little present for him. Just be careful when you catch on your embellishments, and that's perfect. It goes right in that Slimline envelope. I will have everything linked in the description below. Please subscribe, please like, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.